So we start our story off with a guy named Captain Brent. He is the most powerful Brent out of all the Brents, and he's just living his life, happy and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, a portal appears, and we only see the person's feet that come out of the portal, and Captain Brent asks him who is he, and he reveals himself as Morlun, and he tries to find Morlun, but Morlun's too invincible, and so eventually Morlun throws him onto the ground, and Morlun picks up what seems to be a red ruby thing, and he sucks him in. He sucks Captain Brent into it, and he says, "That's one down. A couple more to go." And then all of a sudden the titles appear, the Brent-Verse, and then we cut to another Brent's Earth. We then cut to Spider Brent's Earth. He's just swinging to his date with MJ. He pulls out a ring. It's revealed that he's gonna propose to MJ, and he says, "Well, this is the big question." And so then he goes inside. They eat, and after they're done eating, MJ says, "Okay, so how about we get a check?" And Peter says, "Wait, before we pay, I just want to ask you something." And she says, "What is it?" And then he gets on one knee and pops the question. And MJ says, "Oh my God, yes, I will 100% marry you." And everyone in the background of the restaurant starts clapping for them, and MJ's just happy, and Brent's happy, and they hug each other. And that night, Spider-Man goes home, and he's like, "Well, this was a big night." And he says, "I don't know." And Spider-Man's nervous, and he's nervous and scared. He's nervous and happy at the same time. And then he says, "Well, we'll figure it out all tomorrow. I can't wait to tell Aunt May the news." And then all of a sudden, while he's about to go to sleep, a portal appears, and Spider-Man doesn't know what it is. So then he runs to get his Spider-Man costume on. He has his Spider-Man costume on except for his mask, and a woman appears. She reveals herself as Madame Brent, and she says that she's not after telling when she's here to help. And he says, "Well, who are you, and where did you come from?" And she says, "Are you an idiot? I already told you that I'm Madame Brent, and also I came from another universe, and I'm here to tell you that about a guy who's trying to take away a bunch of Brents. He goes by the name of Morlun, and this is not just one Brent. He's trying to get rid of all the Brents from every multiverse." And he says, "Wait, multiverse? I just became a friendly neighbor of Spider-Man not too long ago, and how do you expect me to handle this guy? You said he's invincible." And Madame Brent says, "Yeah, I know, but we have to do this. And that's why it's not just going to be me and you fighting him. We're going to get a bunch of Brents to help us." And Spider-Brent says, "Well, okay. I guess that's fair." And then we cut to the next Brent's Earth. We then cut to Brent Rivera's Earth, the original Brent Rivera that's in our universe right now. And he looks a lot older, and he's a teacher, it's revealed. And him and the students are on a field trip, and there's a collider there, and the collider is supposed to open up not just one universe, but multiple universes. And one of his students tap him on the shoulder and ask, "Hey, do you think it's possible that one day they can open up multiple universes?" And he says, "Yeah, maybe one day, but not in our lifetime whatsoever." And then he says, "Well, that's the end of the tour, I guess. Let's go back." And Brent goes home, and he's happy. This is actually something that we haven't seen from Brent in a while. He's happy. He lives with Pearson still, and Avira is already 6 years old, and he's so happy. And he kisses Pearson on the cheek, asks how her day was, and she says good. She asks him the same, and vice versa. And Avira comes up to him and gives him a big hug, and she says, "I miss you, Daddy. You want to play dolls with me?" And he says, "Yeah, just give me a second. Let me go say hi to Junior." And he walks down to Junior's basement, where he's playing video games with Ava. They're still friends. Well, they're more than friends now. They're kind of dating, and Brent says, "You two make a good couple. I can't wait to see you get married." And Ava jokingly says, "Well, it's probably not gonna be for a while." And she says, "I've always been a fan of your videos, and Pearson's too, and I've always shipped you, and I'm so glad that you guys are together, and I'm so glad I moved to Huntington Beach where I can meet you guys, and I'm best friends with your son. I'm so glad." And Brent says, "I'm glad too, Ava." And then he goes up to play dolls with Avira, and Ava and Junior, they just continue playing video games down there, and then eventually Brent goes to his room because he's tired, and he's about to put his pajamas on, but then all of a sudden a portal appears, and he puts his fists up. At the same time, he hides, and then a bunch of Brents come out, and Madam Brent says, "Hello, we're here from another universe, and we are here to warn you about a guy named Morlun. Has he showed up here yet?" And Brent looks confused and says, "Not that I know of." And Madam Brent says, "Okay, good. We need your help to defeat him." And Spider-Man says, "Because he's all invincible. He's pretty much built like a million Hulks," she said. And he said, and Brent says, "Well, I'm sorry, I can't go because I'm just living my life. I'm near the finish line. I just wanna get through my life and then I just wanna live a happy life and then just die. That's it." And Spider-Man says, "Come on, we need your help, man." And he says, "No, I'm retired now." And it's been revealed that Brent Rivera from YouTube and TikTok hasn't been seen in over 6 or 7 years. And Spider-Man says, "Come on, man, we need your help. If you don't help us, then we're probably going to be screwed." And Brent says, "I'm sorry, I can't. I'm too old now." And Madam Brent says, "Okay, come on, Spider-Man, let's go." And she walks into the portal, and there's another Brent that's there called Anime Brent. And Spider-Man stays back for a few seconds and says, "You are different, and enjoy the rest of your life, even though it might not be here for that much longer, your universe." And then he walks into the portal. And then he just lays on his bed, feeling guilty, but at the same time, he feels like he just dodged a bullet. And then we cut to the next Brent's Earth. The next Brent is Peter Pan Brent Rivera version. He's married to Pearson, which is Tinkerbell, and he's just living in like a little tree, and he's loving his life. But then all of a sudden the portal appears. It's Morlun. Morlun's there, and Morlun says, "I'm sorry." He pulls out a tome, but then Peter Pan Brent he kicks it out of his hand, and Morlun he just tries to fight him back, punch kick. But then another portal comes in. It's the rest of the Brents, and then Morlun sees them and just runs back into his universe portal. And he grabs the tome real quick, and he runs into his portal. And Madam Brent says, "What happened here? Why was Morlun here? And why didn't he take you with him?" And Peter Pan Brent says, "I don't know. And what are you talking about? Is that a name? Is that what his name is? Are you guys working for him?" And Madam Brent says, "No, we would never work with our enemies. We're trying to defeat him. We need your help to defeat him." And Peter Pan Brent says, "Well, okay. I guess I'll help you." And they're like, "Yes, okay, we got the rest of the help in." And Spider-Man is still thinking about the original Brent Rivera. He says it's just a shame that he wouldn't come with us. And Brent says, "Come on, get over it. He's probably just a jerk." And then we cut to a scene with Morlun's Earth. He goes into his father's home, and it's revealed that his father is dying from a sickness, and that he needs medicine, but there's not medicine to cure him. So Morlun finds an idea that he can find a bunch of Brents and bring it to him, and then he can conjoin or like put the Brent's powers in him. He wants the most powerful Brents, not the weak ones. So he comes home. He gives him the totem. He says, "Wow, is this all you got? Just one?" He says, "Yeah, but there's a lot more." And Morlun's father says, "Well, you're always a failure, but I didn't think you were going to be this much of a failure." And Morlun just snaps and says, "You know what? I tried. I really, really tried. I've been trying to prove to you for my whole life that I can be more than just a failure or just a kid." And Morlun's father says, "Come on, you need to grow up." And Morlun says, "You know what? I'm going to prove to you that I can help you. That I can do anything that I put my mind to, and I'm going to find the Brents. I'm going to find the Brents and cure you." He storms off out of his house, and Morlun, he's never plotted on killing any of the Brents. All he did was just want to suck them in, but now since they're interfering with his plans, and Morlun's dad hates him, he now wants to kill them just to get them in. He'll do whatever it takes now. And then we cut to Brent, the original Brent's Earth, and he's just there, and Pearson comes in and says, well, I guess you got into a little bit of an argument with the other Brents, huh? And Brent says, how long were you listening for? And she says, I'll tell you later, but I just want you to know that you can do it. That you're a responsible man. That I know you can do it. Do it for us. Do it for your family. Do it for the whole universe, our universe. And Brent says, well, I guess you're right. And and Pearson says, of course I'm right. You should go, and whatever happens, just come back, okay? If it gets too harsh on you, just come back and don't look back. And Brent agrees and says, I will. And Pierce says, but wait, how are you gonna go to how are you gonna fight Morlun? You don't know where they are. And and Brent has an idea. Says, wait, I went on filter today. My there was like a collider thing, and that I can go through it possibly. And and Pearson says, okay, you think you can handle it? And Brent says, of course I can. I've handled a lot worse. I fought Blake before. And Pearson says, Blake was nothing. This is way bigger than you, Brent. And Brent says, I know. But I'm still gonna go. So then Brent goes, and then he gets in his car, he drives to the collider, he goes to the collider, but when he's about to turn it on, he sees some guards coming through, so he hides, he tasers them when they get too close to him, and then he's about to turn it on, but then Pearson comes in and says, wait, Brent, she's holding a case, and he opens it, and there lies the Brent Rivera's camera. And she says, just in case you want to document something, here it is. Brent grabs the camera, looks at it, and blows all the dust off and puts it in his pocket. He turns the collider on, says, Pearson, you should get out of here. Things might get crazy. And then Pearson agrees. She leaves. Brent goes inside the collider, and then he goes to where the Brents are. So all the Brents are just trying to find a plan, and but eventually Morlun shows up, and then they say, okay, come on, charge, let's go. And they're fighting him, but they can't seem to defeat him. And all of a sudden, right when things seem like they're gonna be over and they're gonna go to hell, a portal appears, and it's the original Brent Rivera and the original Danny Elfman theme for Life of Brand Pearson will appear in the background, and Brent says, looks like you two can need a little help. And Brent says, wow, you actually came. And Brent says, well, looks like I just came in just in the nick of time. And Brent says, well, yeah, a couple minutes ago wouldn't have been so bad a year ago. And Brent says, what are you going to do? And they all look at Morlun, and then they're about to fight him. And they punch kick him. But nothing seems to be working. So eventually, Morlun goes into a portal. And then right when the Brents can just go inside his portal, the portal closes. And Spider-Man says, damn it, we can't. Now what are we going to do? And Madam Brent says, well, I guess we can just go find another collider. And Brent says, wait, I have a collider at my universe. We can use that. Madam Brent says, okay, great, let's use that. So then they all go to his universe. Spider-Man and Brent talk. And the other Brents, Anime Brent, Nickelodeon Brent, and Light as a Feather Brent, they're all trying to help Madam Brent to get the collider working. And Spider Brent tells them that, I'm glad you really came with us, because my uncle always told me that with great power comes great responsibility. He says, really? Sounds like you had an awesome uncle. And Spider Brent says, yeah, he was. And Brent says, my father told me that whatever comes our way, whatever battle we have raging inside us, we always have a choice. And it's the choices that make us who we are. And we can always choose to do what's right. Spider-Man says, well, I guess we have something in common, that we had someone in our lives that was important to us. He says, yeah, it sucks that my Nana passed away like a couple of years ago. Spider-Man apologizes for his loss. And Brent says, it's okay. I've gotten over it. And then Brent says, okay, I got the collider open. Are you ready to go into Morlun's Earth? And Spider-Man and Brent say, we're ready. And they all jump in, and then we cut to Morlun's Earth. He looks at the tomes that he got, and he just moans like, I could have gotten more. And then all of a sudden the portal behind him opens, and they all try to fight him off, punch kick once again. And all of a sudden, like, a tome comes out, And Brent just looks at it. The original Brent looks at it and says, and whispers to himself, "What is this?" And all of a sudden he breaks it, and then a glowing light appears, and it's another Brent. It's the Captain Brent, and he says, "Whoa, it was really dark in there." He looks around and says, "Who are all you? And why do you all look like me? Are those like ripped off costumes?" And Spider-Man says, "Well, I assume that you're another Brent from another Earth." And Morlun looks at him and says, "Aw, shit." And they all try to fight him and punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. And then all of a sudden, the original Brent pulls out a magnet, and out comes all the totems out of his pockets. And and Morlun says, "Come on, give it back." And that's just a few. You can't do much with a few. And Brent says, "Well, you must not be so confident then." And he breaks all the totems, and apparently that's all the totems that Morlun has. And Morlun looks in his pockets just to see that there's none left, and a bunch of Brents appear from the sky, like Pig Brent, and the girl version of Brent, and many, many more. And then they all look at each other and say, "Charge." And then they all attack Morlun, and they're punch kicking once again. But then eventually, most of the Brents are wiped out. They're out of gas, and Brent and Spider-Brent look at each other and say, "This is up to us." So then they all charge at Morlun, and all of a sudden, Morlun throws a blade at Spider-Brent because his leg is trapped on something, and Brent dodges in the way of it and stabs him in the heart, right through him, and he can't get up anymore. And Spider-Brent yells, "No!" Then he tries to get the thing off of him, but then Morlun attacks him, gets the thing off of him for him, trying to cause him more pain. And Spider-Brent just punch kicks him again, and because Morlun's now weaker. And then all of a sudden, there's one of the tomes that aren't broken, and Spider-Man picks it up, and he puts it next to Morlun, and it sucks him in. And Morlun says, "Wait, no, don't do this." So Morlun gets sucked into it, and all the Brents have their focus on the original Brent Rivera. And Brent Rivera says, "Listen, I know what I did was wrong. I should have gone with you earlier." And Spider-Man says, No, it's fine. You were scared, and you just wanted the rest of your life to yourself. I understand." And Madam Brent says, "I'm sorry that we had to put you through this, but we can find you a hospital, we can stitch you up." Right when she's about to finish, Brent says, "No, it's too late for me here. I don't want to be revived again because I feel like it's my time to go." And then we cut to black. A few days later, there's another funeral scene, just like the life of Brent Pierce in the last episode. Everyone's there, every single Brent's there, and there's Pearson and all the AMP squad's there, and even their dog Cooper. And Avira, she's just hugging her mom's leg because again she's so short. And everyone goes up and says a speech about Brent, and all of a sudden we cut to the collider scene, and all the Brents say goodbye to each other, going back to their universe. And Madam Brent says, Spider-Brent is the last one there. And Madam Brent says, "Wait, what do you have going on in yours?" And Spider-Brent says that he's getting married, and then he's really happy about it. And then he goes inside his universe. Madam Brent glows with a smile, and she goes back into her universe. The end.